Hey Steppers, I just wanted to get with you today. Haven't posted up any video in a couple of weeks, and I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I think helps us a lot, a great deal in the beginning in particular, when we talk about the first tradition. And it talks about our common welfare coming first and personal recovery depending upon the unity of the program. And it goes nicely with another tradition that talks about each group being autonomous, except in matters that affect other groups or the program as a whole. And what we need to learn from that on a personal basis is that, first of all, personal recovery depends upon the unity of the program, but personal recovery is a result of working the 12 steps. It teaches us how to have interpersonal relationships, whereby the traditions talk a little bit more about how we are to behave in a social setting. And I know that for me, when I first came in, I was basically socially inept. I could be in a crowd of people and I felt lonely, alone, and isolated. And by understanding how the steps work together with the traditions, that as I grow on a personal basis doing the steps and developing the principles in my life, I learned more on an intimate level how to behave in a social setting. And the traditions helped me to do that. Now, many people who practice this way of life, many practitioners of the 12 steps who are developing a lifestyle according to this way of life, think that unity is about becoming a robot, that everybody says the same thing and everybody acts the same way. That's not at all my understanding of it. My understanding of it is unity means that we can disagree. We can be vehemently opposed on particular issues, but at the end of the day, we shake hands. We're putting the principle before the personality, and that's what creates the unity. The unity comes, by the way, from the diverse backgrounds. People who never would mingle together end up coming together and finding a common purpose. And with that in mind, we approach the program, we approach our families, we approach our friends, we approach everything that we do that involves other people, because let's face it, everything we want and need in life comes from and through other people. So it's a very good skill to develop in the safety and comfort of people who are practicing this way of life within the program and our network of friends, these new behaviors, and cultivate an improvement process as we interact with other people on a social basis. And you can even give your friends permission. Hey man, if I say something or do something that's completely inappropriate, would you at least do me the favor and let me know, you know? And sometimes people in the program will do that to you or to me, and you didn't even give them permission. And that doesn't mean that they're right and you're wrong, or you're right and they're wrong, or you're both right or you're both wrong. It just means that this is where we learn to set some boundaries. Now, we allow certain people to do it, people we trust, people who aren't going to launch a nuclear attack on us for being inappropriate. Anybody else who tries to bring that, you know, it's perfectly fine to say, hey, listen, did I ask you to bring me this information? I mean, did I ask you for your insight or your input? And the same goes true for you. Don't share your opinions about somebody else's behavior if they've never asked you. I mean, that's just flat out rude. That's not what we do. We restrain our pen and our tongue unless, of course, somebody asks, hey, what do you think about this? Or that's how unity develops, is by everybody behaving accordingly. Some people don't want my opinion. They've never asked my opinion. Therefore, I don't give them my opinion. You know, if they do ask for it, then I'll provide it with them in a way that's constructive as opposed to destructive. I know it's popular in our culture for people to think that they gotta knock you down before they can build you up. I don't think that's necessarily true. And let's face it, some people think outside the box. Some people have different family culture, a different upbringing, a different background, a different set of mores or understanding of what's socially appropriate and what's not. And we need to give everybody room, even within other programs. I mean, an alcoholic may come into a drug addicts meeting and everybody gets offended. Oh my gosh, the guy said alcoholic, he said alcohol. Or maybe the drug addict goes into an alcohol meeting, or a gambler goes to a sex meeting, and everybody gets in a big upheaval because, oh, I need to relate. That's when we need to practice a little bit of tolerance, and find what we have in common, because really it's not a big stretch between the addict or the alcoholic or the gambler or the sex, indulger or the overeater. There's the behaviors, the attitudes, the thinking when you get right down to the brass tacks, they have a problem, they're looking for a solution, and we need to just take a deep breath and let people be. And we need to expect the same tolerance from others with regard to us. It's just, that's what creates unity. Unity doesn't mean everybody thinks, looks, acts, and behaves alike. That's a mistake. Those are robots. Unity really is I'll let you be you, and you let me be me, and we'll come together on occasion, and we'll find a common ground. Because after all, we're all daughters and sons of a heavenly Father. We're all sons and daughters to our Creator. We're all living this human experience on the same planet at the same time, in the same circumstances, and we all deal with different challenges. At the end of the day, nobody is living without challenges, without obstacles in their way. And at the end of the day, when we come together and we use this way of life as a method for change, if we're recovery-centered, I mean radical recovery-centered, if we are recovery-centered, we can identify with anybody. With anybody, because the solution always brings us down the same path, and it's basically find God, clean house, and help others. That's basically the bottom line. It can be broken down into three simple, very fundamental philosophical concepts. Find God, clean house, and help others. That's what we need to do. And if we're really centered on those primary purposes, and we're really trying to cultivate unity, and we're really looking to live an autonomous life, then we need to start to grow along those lines, along spiritual lines, and be more tolerant, more patient, more loving, more kind, more generous. And when we put that out there, it's amazing what comes back. Everything is in direct relationship to what we're giving. So we'll receive in direct relationship to what we give. So I'm encouraging you, please, in your prayers, include patience and tolerance and love and clarity, seeking only for the knowledge of God's will for you. And let others be. I mean, I've seen it in a meeting this morning. There was a disagreement, and two huffy guys got up, and they were ready to duke it out on a Sunday morning in a meeting. I mean, wow. A couple of newcomers, I was so uncomfortable, I wanted to leave. Is that what and these are two people with time. Is that our primary purpose? Is that what we're supposed to be doing to attract people? Is that our public relations policy? Is that based on attraction rather than promotion? That is completely ego-centered, self-centered, egocentric, I'm better than you, and all that baloney. I mean, the tension was so high you could have cut it with a knife. It was interesting. I kind of like, it's not Well People's Anonymous, right? It's kind of like, it's for sinners who want to get better, not for a sanctuary for saints, but it's better than sitting at home watching reruns of Gilligan's Island, I can tell you that. It was for me, it's exciting. Now, other people might have found it uncomfortable, but I got a long way to go. It was pretty fun to me. It made for some interesting topics. And then when the meeting opened up, it really opened up. I mean, it made for, when you have conflict right at the beginning of the meeting, and then it opens up, boy, it opens up good, because everybody weighs in. So it turned out to be a wonderful meeting. And I think the two at the end, they kind of saw, their own, and it was a beautiful thing to witness. But at the beginning there, it was pretty gnarly for a couple of minutes. I think anybody who's seen that kind of stuff knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, it is about unity. It is about finding a primary purpose. The traditions are there to help us on a social basis and become more adept on a social level. It'll improve our family, with our relationship with our family, our significant other, our kids, our friends, anybody we interact with on a business level. These traditions carry with them principles also, and unity. Unity is not about seeing it's about being individual and letting everyone else be individual as well. Instead of trying to bend everybody, we just let everybody be, and we continue to bend ourselves. Okay, does that make sense? Anyway, remember this always. The only way out is through radical change. And welcome to the tribe. This is Radical Recovery, saying goodbye, and I'll talk to you soon from Panama City, Panama. I'm in another country now. It's beautiful here. I'll be here for a little while, so I haven't tuned in for a little bit. I will be tuning in more later on. Aloha.